Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the channel where we share a little wisdom, a few laughs, and hopefully leave you feeling a bit more inspired. Today, we're diving into some life-changing lessons straight out of my grandfather's diary, lessons that are sure to boost your resilience, growth, and happiness. These aren't just ordinary life lessons, they're the kind that stick with you, the kind that make you think, yeah, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. So, grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and let's jump right in. And hey, if you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss any future wisdom we drop here, and give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. Also, let us know in the comments which of these lessons speaks to you the most. Alright, let's get started with the first powerful lesson. 1. The power of purpose. You know, it's often said that he who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. This is one of those quotes that I remember my grandfather saying whenever things got tough, and believe me, he lived through his fair share of hardships. What he meant was that when you have a purpose, a reason to get up every day, you can face any challenge that comes your way. Purpose is what drives us, what keeps us going when the going gets tough. Think about it, if you genuinely love what you do, it won't feel like work. We've all heard that, right? But how many of us truly believe it, let alone live it? Finding a purpose means connecting deeply with something that fulfills you, whether it's a career, a hobby, or taking care of the people you love. Purpose gives your life meaning, and that makes all the difference. My grandfather used to tell me stories about his work. He never had a glamorous job, but he always said, if you like what you do, it will never feel like work. And honestly, seeing how much he enjoyed even the simplest tasks, like fixing up old tools or helping a neighbor, I finally understood that purpose isn't about some grand gesture. It's about finding joy in the little things that you do every day. And here's something else that's key: health is more important than almost anything else in life. Grandpa had this incredible way of putting things into perspective. He'd say, health so far outweighs all other blessings of life that a truly healthy beggar is happier than a sick king. It made me realize how much we take our health for granted. We hustle and strive for money, recognition, and success, but without health, none of those things matter. Remember to prioritize your well-being, because it's the foundation of everything else. Be kind to yourself. We often forget to be kind to ourselves, don't we? We're our harshest critics, always nitpicking at our own mistakes and flaws. But my grandfather believed, and taught me, that being kind to yourself is the best medicine. He'd often say, being kind to yourself is more important than any success you could achieve. It's the kind of wisdom that's easier said than done, but trust me, it's worth working on. You can't give from an empty cup, and self-kindness is what fills that cup. Being kind to yourself is not just about taking breaks or treating yourself every now and then, but it's also about letting go of things you can't change. Grandpa used to remind me that the only thing constant in this world is change. It's natural to resist change, but we need to understand that change is what helps us grow and evolve. When we let go of trying to control everything, we can focus on what truly matters, making the most of the present moment. And, speaking of letting go is much easier than you think. It's holding on that's the real challenge. Holding on to grudges, mistakes, or things we can't control only drains us. The real freedom comes when you allow yourself to let go and make space for new, positive experiences. My grandfather often said, holding on is much tougher than letting go, and I've found that to be true time and time again. Comparison gets you nowhere. Now let's talk about a mistake a lot of us make, comparing ourselves to others. Grandpa had a very simple view on this: making others look bad doesn't make you look better. This hit me hard when I was younger. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to outdo someone else, but really, it's a losing game. No amount of making someone else look worse will ever make you genuinely feel better about yourself. He always emphasized focusing on your own growth, your own journey. The busier we are, the more acutely we feel that we live, the more conscious we are of life. When you're busy building your own dreams, there's no time or need to look over at someone else's progress. Live for the journey, live for the fulfillment it brings you, not for competing with others. And that brings us to happiness. Grandpa believed that happiness is nothing more than good health and a bad memory. Isn't that such an interesting way to look at it? A bad memory helps you forget the things that don't serve you. It's about learning to let go and move forward without letting past disappointments cloud your present happiness. I mean, if you give a person everything that he desires, at that moment they'll soon realize that this is not everything. True happiness comes from appreciating what you have, not constantly seeking more. We are not rich by what we possess, but by what we can do without. That's another classic Grandpa quote. It's about simplifying your needs, being content, and not always chasing after more. The more you need, the harder it becomes to be happy. The simpler your needs, the easier it is to find joy in everyday moments. This lesson has really shaped the way I look at consumer culture. It's taught me that abundance isn't about how much you own, but how much you enjoy what you have. The power of prayer and belief. Prayers do not change the world, but prayers change people, and people change the world. Grandpa believed that prayer wasn't about making miracles happen, it was about changing your mindset, gaining strength and clarity, and being better equipped to handle what life throws at you. He'd often say that when you change yourself, you change the world around you. This lesson is all about taking responsibility for your own actions and realizing the potential you have to create positive change. Grandpa also had these rules for happiness that he liked to share with anyone who would listen: something to do, someone to love, something to hope for. He always said that if you have these 3 things in your life, you have all the ingredients for true happiness. And honestly, I've found this to be one of the most powerful takeaways from his wisdom. You need purpose, love, and hope to feel fulfilled. To cap this off, there's a piece of advice that stuck with me, one I still remind myself of whenever I'm holding on too tightly to something. If you love something so much, let it go. If it comes back, it was meant to be. If it doesn't, it never was. It's such a simple yet profound way to approach love, dreams, opportunities, just about anything. Sometimes we try too hard to control the outcome, but if we let things flow naturally, we realize what truly belongs in our lives. Alright, friends, that wraps up section 1 of our Grandfather's Wisdom series. Stick around because we've got 5 more sections full of incredible insights to come. If you've enjoyed this so far, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Which of these lessons resonated with you the most? Let's keep the conversation going. Stay tuned for the next part, where we'll continue exploring more lessons from my grandfather's diary. 2. Embracing change and growth. One thing my grandfather used to say often was, "The only thing constant in this world is change." It's one of those timeless truths that has become almost a cliché, but when you really think about it, it has a deep impact on how we live our lives. Change is inevitable. Whether it's a new job, moving to a different city, or even changes within yourself, it's something we all go through. Grandpa taught me that change isn't something to fear, instead, it's something to embrace. Resisting change is like trying to hold back a river. It's exhausting and, ultimately, impossible. When you let go of your resistance to change, you'll find that life becomes so much easier. Grandpa would always say, letting go is much easier than you think. He'd remind me that holding on to things, whether it was old habits, past mistakes, or unrealistic expectations, only makes life more difficult. On the flip side, letting go opens up space for new possibilities. It allows you to grow, adapt, and make room for the things that really matter. Another powerful lesson Grandpa shared with me was, holding on is much tougher than letting go. We often hold on because we fear the unknown, but what if the unknown is exactly what we need to discover our true potential? Change can be scary, but it's also what allows us to grow and evolve as individuals. It's through change that we learn new skills, meet new people, and experience new opportunities. And speaking of growing, Grandpa was always adamant that growth comes from within. He used to tell me, real growth is when you start checking and correcting yourself instead of blaming others. Growth isn't about what happens around you, it's about how you respond to it. You can't control everything, but you can control how you react. When we take responsibility for our own actions and decisions, we become empowered. Blaming others for our problems might feel good in the short term, but it keeps us from truly growing. The importance of self-worth. Grandpa always emphasized the importance of knowing your worth. He'd say, know your worth. Never put yourself in the bargain bin, or that's where others will value you. It sounds harsh, but it's true. If you don't value yourself, others won't either. It's all about setting boundaries and understanding what you bring to the table. Whether it's in your personal relationships or your career, knowing your worth is key to being treated the way you deserve. One of the ways Grandpa taught me to understand my value was through hard work. He believed in what he called the magic of effort. He'd say, the magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding. It took me a while to understand what he meant, but eventually, I realized that there are no shortcuts in life. The magic, the success, the rewards, the fulfillment, is in the effort you put in. It's in those long nights studying, those early mornings at the gym, and those times when you push through even when you don't feel like it. Hard work isn't glamorous, but it's where true growth and success come from. Grandpa also had this saying about dark times. He'd say, sometimes, when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but actually, you've been planted. It's a beautiful metaphor for those difficult periods in life. When everything seems to be going wrong, it's easy to feel like you're stuck or that you're being overwhelmed by circumstances. But often, these moments are the very times when we grow the most. Just like a seed that's planted in the darkness of the soil, we need those challenging times to develop our roots and grow into something stronger. Invest in quality. One piece of practical advice that Grandpa gave me was to invest in quality, especially when it comes to the tools you use. Buy high-quality tools so you only have to buy them once, he'd say. This might sound like it's just about tools, but it's actually a lesson that applies to many aspects of life. When you invest in quality, whether it's tools, relationships, or your own skills, you're setting yourself up for long-term success. Quality lasts. Whether it's investing time in a meaningful relationship rather than a superficial one or putting effort into learning a skill properly rather than looking for a shortcut, quality is always worth it. It's about playing the long game and valuing the things that truly matter. Grandpa always believed that the more you invest in quality, the more you get back in return, and I've found that to be absolutely true. Managing anger and emotions. Another important lesson Grandpa taught me was about managing emotions, especially anger. He would often say, there is absolutely no reason to lay your hands on a person out of anger. This was his way of teaching me that violence, whether physical or verbal, is never the answer. Anger is a natural emotion, but it's up to us to decide how we respond to it. Grandpa always encouraged me to take a step back and think before reacting, especially in heated situations. He'd say, do what is right, not what is easy. It's easy to react out of anger, to say hurtful things, or to lash out. But doing the right thing, remaining calm, finding a solution, and treating others with respect, is much harder. It takes strength to manage your emotions and not let them control you. But in the end, it's always worth it. Grandpa believed that true strength lies not in overpowering others, but in mastering oneself. It's never too late to start over. Grandpa was a firm believer that it's never too late to start over. He would say, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. Life is full of second chances, and no matter how many mistakes you've made, there's always an opportunity to turn things around. This lesson has been a guiding light for me, especially during times when I felt like I had messed up beyond repair. The idea that you can always start fresh is incredibly liberating. It means that no matter where you are in life, you have the power to make a change. It's about taking control of your story and deciding that you want a different ending. Whether it's a career change, ending a toxic relationship, or just deciding to take better care of yourself, it's never too late to make a change for the better. Cherish the moments. One of the most touching lessons Grandpa taught me was to cherish the moments. You never realize when the most cherished moments of your life are happening, he'd say. Try to enjoy every day. This is something that's easy to forget in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. We get so caught up in work, deadlines, and responsibilities that we forget to stop and appreciate the little moments that make life beautiful. Grandpa would often talk about the importance of being present. Whether it was a family dinner, a walk in the park, or just sitting on the porch watching the sunset, he always found joy in the simple things. He believed that life isn't about the big milestones, but about the small, everyday moments that we often take for granted. It's those moments that, in hindsight, become the most precious memories. He also believed that the busier we are, the more acutely we feel that we live. Being busy isn't just about work, it's about being engaged with life, being active, and making the most of the time we have. It's about finding fulfillment in what you do, whether it's working on a project you're passionate about, spending time with loved ones, or pursuing a hobby. The more engaged you are with life, the more alive you feel. Alright, friends, that wraps up section 2 of our Grandfather's Wisdom series. I hope you found these lessons as insightful as I have over the years. Grandpa's words have guided me through some tough times, and I hope they can do the same for you. Stay tuned for the next part, where we'll dive even deeper into more of his powerful life lessons. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these lessons and how they resonate with you. 3. Facing life's challenges head-on. Another valuable lesson that my grandfather always instilled in me was to face challenges head-on. He often said, "You take your power back by being responsible for your life." It might seem simple, but this is a powerful reminder that we have control over our actions, even when things seem out of control. It's easy to blame circumstances, people, or bad luck for the challenges we face, but when we take responsibility for our lives, we reclaim our power. Grandpa taught me that true strength comes from facing challenges directly, not running away from them or blaming others. One of his favorite sayings was, "Do not chase people who are walking out of your life." It's a reminder that not everyone is meant to stay in our lives forever. We often hold on to people who have already decided to leave, thinking that we can somehow convince them to stay. But in reality, if someone wants to leave, it's best to let them go. Holding on only causes more pain. Instead, focus on the people who choose to stay, who appreciate and support you. Those are the people who are worth your time and energy. Grandpa also believed that life is full of lessons, and that we should always be ready to learn from them. He used to say, "Prepare for each moment to be a learning moment." Whether it's a success or a failure, every experience in life has something to teach us. The key is to stay open-minded and be willing to learn, even when things don't go as planned. When you approach life with a mindset of growth, challenges become opportunities, and setbacks become stepping stones. Being a good person matters. I don't care what you do with your life, just be a good person. That was one of Grandpa's core beliefs, and it's something he repeated to me countless times. He believed that no matter what career you pursue, no matter what goals you have, the most important thing is to be a good person. Kindness, compassion, and integrity are qualities that transcend everything else. You could be the most successful person in the world, but if you lack kindness and empathy, what does it really mean? Grandpa would remind me that eventually, all things fall into place. Life can be chaotic, confusing, and uncertain, but he believed that if you stay true to your values, things have a way of working themselves out. It's about trusting the process, staying patient, and doing the right thing even when it's not easy. In times of confusion, he'd always say, "Until then, laugh at the confusion, live for the moments, and know everything happens for a reason." It's a great way to navigate the ups and downs of life, embrace the uncertainty, cherish the good moments, and trust that even the difficult times serve a purpose. The truth always comes out. Another piece of wisdom Grandpa shared was about honesty. If we suspect that a man is lying, we should pretend to believe him, for then he becomes bold and assured, lies more vigorously, and is unmasked. It's a bit of an unconventional approach, but Grandpa believed that the truth always comes out. People who lie will often reveal themselves eventually, and it's better to let them expose their own dishonesty. Instead of wasting energy trying to catch someone in a lie, it's often more effective to let them dig their own hole. Grandpa also used to say, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." In other words, if you lack self-discipline, someone else will always control your life. Whether it's a boss, a partner, or even just the demands of everyday life, lacking self-control means you're constantly at the mercy of external forces. True freedom comes from being able to set your own rules and follow through with them. Discipline might not be glamorous, but it's the foundation of a fulfilling life. Lesson 12: Finding beauty in the small things. Grandpa had a wonderful way of finding beauty in the simplest things. He used to tell me, in the hopes of reaching the moon, men fail to see the flowers that blossom at their feet. It's easy to get caught up in big dreams and ambitious goals, and while there's nothing wrong with aiming high, it's important not to lose sight of the beauty that's right in front of you. The small joys, like a beautiful sunset, a kind gesture, or a shared laugh, are what make life truly meaningful. He also believed that love is something that can't be forced. You cannot convince people to love you. No one will ever give you love because you want him or her to give it. Real love moves freely in both directions. Grandpa was right, love isn't something you can demand or control. It's something that flows naturally when it's meant to be. Don't waste your time trying to convince someone to love you. Instead, focus on being the best version of yourself, and the right people will love you for who you are. Resilience and strength. Life doesn't get easier or more forgiving, we get stronger and more resilient. This was one of Grandpa's favorite sayings, and it's something that has stuck with me throughout my life. Challenges are inevitable, and life isn't always fair. But the beauty of it is that we have the ability to grow stronger with each challenge we face. Resilience is like a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every time you overcome a difficulty, you become better equipped to handle the next one. He also had a unique perspective on motivation. Grandpa believed that if you punish a child for what is bad and reward for what is good, then he will do good for the sake of profit. He taught me that true motivation should come from within, not from external rewards or punishments. Whether it's a child learning right from wrong or an adult pursuing a goal, the real value lies in doing the right thing because it aligns with your values, not because of the reward you might get. The value of solitude. Grandpa often spoke about the value of solitude. An intelligent person always hides 3 things about himself: his weaknesses, his sources of wisdom, and his true aspirations. He believed that there is power in keeping certain things to yourself, in maintaining a sense of mystery and independence. Solitude isn't about being lonely, it's about taking the time to reflect, to understand yourself, and to grow without the influence of others. He also used to say, a man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom. True freedom comes from understanding who you are when no one else is around. It's about being comfortable with yourself and not needing the constant validation or presence of others to feel complete. Solitude is where you find your true self, free from the expectations and opinions of the world. Living dangerously and fully. Grandpa believed in living life to the fullest, even if it meant taking risks. He used to say, the secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. He wasn't talking about reckless behavior, but rather about stepping out of your comfort zone, taking chances, and not being afraid of failure. Life is meant to be experienced, and sometimes that means taking a leap of faith, even when the outcome is uncertain. He also said, a high degree of intellect tends to make a man unsocial. This was his way of reminding me that while intelligence and knowledge are valuable, they shouldn't come at the cost of human connection. It's easy to get lost in your own thoughts or pursuits, but at the end of the day, relationships and connections are what bring meaning to our lives. Grandpa always encouraged me to balance the pursuit of knowledge with the pursuit of meaningful connections. Alright, friends, that wraps up section 3 of our Grandfather's Wisdom series. I hope these lessons have resonated with you as much as they have with me. Remember, life is about learning, growing, and embracing both the good and the bad. If you're enjoying this series, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next part. And as always, let us know in the comments which lessons spoke to you the most. We love hearing your thoughts and stories. 4. The importance of perspective and attitude. Another lesson my grandfather always emphasized was the importance of perspective. He often said, the future comes slowly, the present flies, and the past stands still forever. It's a reminder to appreciate the present moment because it's fleeting. When we focus too much on the future, we miss the beauty of what's happening right now. And when we dwell on the past, we lose the chance to create new memories. Life moves quickly, and it's important to find joy in each day without getting too caught up in what's ahead or behind. Grandpa believed that our attitude shapes our reality. He would say, "Always listen to your gut, somehow it knows many things that you wouldn't expect." Intuition is a powerful thing, and it's often overlooked in our decision-making process. We can analyze and overthink all we want, but there's something to be said for trusting that inner voice. Grandpa taught me that intuition is like an internal compass. It guides us even when logic falls short. Trusting your instincts and staying positive can help you navigate the uncertainties of life more effectively. He also said, "Rule your life with your mind, not with your feelings." This doesn't mean ignoring your emotions. Grandpa wasn't about suppressing feelings, but rather that emotions shouldn't dictate every decision. Emotions can be fleeting and unreliable. It's important to take a step back, evaluate situations with a clear mind, and make decisions based on what's best in the long term rather than what feels good in the moment. It's about finding that balance between feeling and logic to live a fulfilling life. Be careful who you trust. Grandpa also taught me the importance of being careful with who you trust. You should be careful not to form a very favorable opinion about a person at first acquaintance, otherwise, in most cases, you will have to be disappointed. It's easy to get swept up in first impressions, whether positive or negative, but they're not always accurate. People can be complex, and understanding someone's true character takes time. This lesson taught me to be cautious and observant, to let people show who they are before placing my trust in them. He also believed that many people know they are unhappy, but even more people don't know they are happy. It's a powerful reminder that happiness is often a matter of perspective. Sometimes we're so focused on what we don't have that we fail to appreciate what we do. Grandpa taught me to be mindful of the small blessings in life, the warmth of the sun, a good conversation, or even just a moment of peace. Gratitude is the foundation of happiness, and recognizing the good in your life is the first step to truly feeling happy. Possessions versus freedom. Another insightful lesson Grandpa shared was about our relationship with material possessions. He used to say, "If you own something you cannot give away, then you don't own it, it owns you." This was his way of teaching me about the importance of not becoming too attached to material things. We often think that accumulating possessions will bring us happiness, but in reality, those things can end up controlling us. The more we own, the more we have to worry about. True freedom comes from being able to let go, from not letting your possessions define you. Grandpa also believed that from the point of view of youth, life is an endless future. From the point of view of old age, it is a very short past. This perspective was a reminder of how fleeting time can be. When we're young, it feels like we have all the time in the world. But as we grow older, we realize how quickly time has passed. It's important to make the most of the time we have, to pursue our passions, and to not put off the things that matter to us. Life is too short to live with regrets, and Grandpa always encouraged me to live fully and without hesitation. Guard your secrets wisely. Grandpa had a saying that always stuck with me: "Don't tell your friend what your enemy shouldn't know." It's a lesson about being careful with what you share and with whom. Trust is earned, and not everyone needs to know everything about you. It's important to guard your secrets wisely and be selective with the people you confide in. While friendships are valuable, it's also important to recognize that not every friend will always have your best interests at heart. Keeping some things to yourself can protect you from unnecessary hurt down the line. Another thing Grandpa believed in was not letting the opinions of others dictate how you see yourself. If they gossip about you, it means that you are enough, not only for yourself, but also for others. People will always talk, and often it's because they're insecure or jealous. Grandpa taught me to be proud of who I am, regardless of what others say. If people are talking about you, it's because you're doing something noteworthy. Instead of letting gossip bring you down, let it be a reminder that you are living life in a way that catches attention, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. The kindness test. Grandpa was also a big believer in how people treat animals as a reflection of their character. He used to say, "He who is cruel to animals becomes hard also in his dealings with men." It was his way of teaching me that kindness is a fundamental value that extends beyond just how we treat people. It's about how we treat all living things. If someone is kind and compassionate towards animals, it's a good indication that they have a kind heart overall. Compassion is one of the most important traits a person can have, and Grandpa always encouraged me to practice it every day. He also said, "We can judge the heart of a man by his treatment of animals." This might sound simple, but it's a profound observation. The way someone treats the vulnerable, whether it's animals, children, or anyone who cannot defend themselves, reveals their true nature. Grandpa taught me that kindness is not just about grand gestures, it's about how you treat those who can do nothing for you. True kindness is selfless and unconditional. Live boldly and embrace challenges. Grandpa always encouraged me to take risks and live boldly. He believed that the secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. This doesn't mean being reckless, but rather being willing to step outside of your comfort zone and embrace the unknown. Life is meant to be experienced fully, and sometimes that means taking chances and making bold moves. The times when we feel most alive are often when we're pushing ourselves, challenging our limits, and embracing the thrill of the unknown. He also believed that a high degree of intellect tends to make a man unsocial. It's a reminder that while knowledge and intelligence are important, they shouldn't come at the expense of relationships and connection. Life is meant to be shared, and relationships are what bring richness and meaning to our experiences. Grandpa always encouraged me to balance my pursuit of knowledge with a pursuit of meaningful connections with others. After all, what good is all the knowledge in the world if you have no one to share it with? The power of silence. Grandpa also believed in the power of silence. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom. This was his way of teaching me the value of taking time for myself. In a world that is constantly noisy and full of distractions, finding moments of silence is more important than ever. Solitude allows us to reflect, to understand ourselves, and to grow. It's only when we are comfortable being alone that we can truly experience freedom, freedom from the need for constant validation, freedom from the opinions of others, and freedom to just be ourselves. Grandpa would also say, "The reading of all good books is like a conversation with the finest minds of past centuries." He believed in the value of reading, of learning from those who came before us. Books are a window into the thoughts and experiences of others, and reading allows us to expand our perspectives, to learn from the wisdom of those who lived before us. It's a reminder that we are never truly alone. We have the knowledge and experiences of countless individuals at our fingertips, ready to guide us whenever we need it. Alright, friends, that wraps up section 4 of our Grandfather's Wisdom series. I hope these lessons have resonated with you as much as they have with me. Grandpa's teachings were all about perspective, attitude, and embracing life fully. If you're enjoying this series, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next part. And as always, let us know in the comments which lessons spoke to you the most. We love hearing your thoughts and stories. 5. Lessons on love, loss, and letting go. Another lesson my grandfather emphasized was about love and relationships. He would often say, "If you love something, let it go. If it comes back, then it was meant to be." Love, in his eyes, was never about control or possession. It was about giving the people you care about the freedom to be themselves, even if that means letting them go. This was one of the hardest lessons for me to understand as a child, but as I grew older, I realized how powerful it is. True love cannot be forced or confined, it must be allowed to flourish on its own terms. Grandpa believed that sometimes, we have to let go of people we care about, not because we stop loving them, but because we respect their journey. He used to say, "The person behind you isn't going to pay your speeding ticket." This meant that we must take responsibility for our own actions and understand that no one else can carry the burden of our mistakes. Sometimes, people leave because they have their own path to follow, and holding on to them would only weigh them down, and us as well. He also had a saying, "No excuses, because excuses don't solve your problems." Grandpa was not one for making excuses. He believed in taking action and finding solutions rather than dwelling on what went wrong. He taught me that the moment we start making excuses, we give up our power to change the situation. Instead of blaming circumstances or others, we need to take control of our actions and decisions. It's about accepting responsibility and being accountable for our own lives. Rejection is redirection. Grandpa had a very optimistic view on rejection. He would say, every time you are rejected from something good, you are redirected to something better. It's a reminder that rejection is not the end of the road, it's just a detour leading you to a better destination. We often feel devastated when we are rejected, whether it's from a job, or relationship, or an opportunity we wanted. But Grandpa taught me that rejection is just life's way of guiding us to where we truly belong. It's about trusting that everything happens for a reason, even when it doesn't make sense at the moment. Some of the biggest blessings in life come disguised as losses or setbacks. Grandpa would remind me that when writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. We are the authors of our own stories, and rejection is just a plot twist, not the end. It's up to us to keep writing, to keep moving forward, and to trust that the story will unfold as it should. Know your value. One of the most important lessons Grandpa taught me was about self-worth. He always said, know your worth. Never put yourself in the bargain bin, or that's where others will value you. It's a powerful reminder that how we value ourselves sets the standard for how others will treat us. If we settle for less than we deserve, people will take advantage of that. But if we know our value and stand by it, we attract people who respect and appreciate us for who we are. Grandpa also taught me that the magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that success comes effortlessly or that some people are just lucky. But the truth is, the magic, whether it's success, fulfillment, or happiness, comes from the work we put in. It's in those moments when we push ourselves, even when we don't feel like it, that we grow and achieve what we're capable of. Hard work is the key to unlocking our potential. Growth comes from adversity. Grandpa believed that the difficult times in life are often the most transformative. He would say, sometimes, when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but actually, you've been planted. This was his way of reminding me that challenges are opportunities for growth. When we face adversity, it can feel like we're being overwhelmed or buried by our circumstances. But those dark times are often the very moments that help us grow the most. Just like a seed that's planted in the darkness of the soil, we need those challenging moments to develop our roots, to grow stronger, and to eventually break through the surface. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Grandpa taught me that the pain we experience is not in vain, it's part of the process that shapes us into who we are meant to be. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy, it happens when we're tested, challenged, and pushed beyond our comfort zones. The importance of investing in yourself. Another important lesson Grandpa shared was about investing in yourself. He used to say, buy high-quality tools so you only have to buy them once. This lesson wasn't just about physical tools, it was about the value of investing in yourself, your skills, and your growth. Whether it's learning a new skill, taking care of your health, or pursuing an education, investing in yourself is the best investment you can make. Quality lasts, and when you invest in yourself, you set yourself up for long-term success. Grandpa always believed that the more you invest in your own growth, the more you get back in return. It's about prioritizing what truly matters and not cutting corners when it comes to your own well-being. Whether it's buying quality tools for your trade or investing time in your mental health, it's all about setting yourself up for a better future. Do what is right, not what is easy. Grandpa always encouraged me to do what is right, even when it's not the easiest option. He would say, do what is right, not what is easy. In life, there will always be temptations to take shortcuts or to choose the path of least resistance. But Grandpa believed that true character is built when we choose to do what is right, even when it's difficult. He taught me that integrity is one of the most important values a person can have. It's about standing by your principles, even when no one is watching. It's about being honest, even when it's inconvenient. Grandpa always emphasized that doing the right thing might not always lead to immediate rewards, but it will bring long-term fulfillment and respect from others and from yourself. Life is full of moments to cherish. Grandpa often spoke about the importance of cherishing the little moments in life. He used to say, "You never realize when the most cherished moments of your life are happening." This was his way of reminding me that life is not just about the big milestones, it's about the small, everyday moments that we often overlook. Whether it's a conversation with a loved one, a walk in nature, or a simple meal shared with family, these are the moments that make life beautiful. He would always remind me to try to enjoy every day. Life is too short to be caught up in stress, worries, or the pursuit of things that don't truly matter. The most precious moments often come when we least expect them, and if we're too busy focusing on what's next, we might miss them altogether. Grandpa taught me to slow down, to be present, and to appreciate the beauty of each day. Let go of what you cannot control. One of the most powerful lessons Grandpa taught me was about letting go. He used to say, "Do not chase people who are walking out of your life." This was his way of teaching me that not everything is meant to stay, and that's okay. We often hold on to things or people because we're afraid of what life will be like without them. But holding on to what no longer serves us only prevents us from moving forward. Grandpa believed that true freedom comes from letting go of what we cannot control. Whether it's a relationship, a missed opportunity, or a mistake from the past, letting go allows us to make space for new experiences and new growth. It's not about forgetting or ignoring what happened, it's about accepting it and choosing to move forward. Alright, friends, that wraps up section 5 of our Grandfather's Wisdom series. I hope these lessons have touched you as much as they have touched me. Grandpa's words have been a guiding light through many moments in my life, and I hope they can do the same for you. If you're enjoying this series, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next part. And as always, let us know in the comments which lesson resonated with you the most. We love hearing your thoughts and stories. 6. The power of patience, wisdom, and legacy. One of the final lessons my grandfather often shared was the importance of patience. He used to say, "The result of the voyage does not depend on the speed of the ship, but on whether or not it keeps a true course." This was his way of teaching me that life isn't a race. In a world where everyone is in a hurry to get ahead, Grandpa believed in taking things one step at a time. He taught me that it's not about how fast you reach your goals, but about staying true to your purpose and making steady progress. Patience is something that doesn't come naturally to many of us. We want instant results, instant gratification. But Grandpa believed that the best things in life take time. He'd always remind me, the future comes slowly. It's a simple yet profound reminder that good things are worth waiting for, and that rushing the process can lead to mistakes and regrets. Life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's about pacing yourself, enjoying the journey, and trusting that you will get where you need to be in due time. Grandpa also taught me to appreciate the slow moments in life. The present flies, he'd say, meaning that the present moment is fleeting, and if we don't take the time to savor it, it will pass us by. We often rush through our days, focused on what's next, without truly experiencing the present. Grandpa believed that each moment has value, and if we take the time to appreciate it, we can find beauty even in the mundane. Listen more, talk less. Grandpa was a firm believer in the value of listening. Before you talk, listen, he would say. In a world where everyone seems to have something to say, Grandpa believed that true wisdom comes from listening. He taught me that most people listen with the intent to reply rather than to understand. But if we take the time to truly listen, without judgment or the need to respond, we can learn so much more about the people around us and about life itself. He also believed in the power of reflection. Before you react, think. It's easy to let emotions take over and react impulsively, especially when we feel hurt or frustrated. But Grandpa taught me that taking a moment to think before reacting can make all the difference. It's about choosing your response rather than letting emotions dictate your actions. This simple lesson has saved me from many regrets, and it's something I try to practice every day. The value of trying. One of Grandpa's most repeated lessons was, before you quit, try. He was a firm believer in giving things your best effort, even when they seemed difficult or impossible. He taught me that failure is not the end, it's just a step on the path to success. Often, we give up too soon because we're afraid of failing or because things get tough. But Grandpa always reminded me that you never know what you're capable of until you try. He also said, the most spiritual people experience by far the most painful tragedies, but this is precisely why they honor life, because it provides them with their greatest adversities. This was his way of reminding me that our struggles are what shape us. The people who have faced the most challenges often have the deepest appreciation for life. It's in overcoming adversity that we find our true strength and learn to honor the beauty of life, even in its most difficult moments. Embrace aging with grace. Grandpa had a unique perspective on aging. He used to say, at 20, everyone has the face that God gave them, at 40, the face that life gave them, and at 60, the face they earned. He believed that our faces tell the story of our lives. The lines, wrinkles, and expressions we carry are a reflection of the experiences we've had, the emotions we've felt, and the lives we've lived. Grandpa taught me to embrace aging, to see it as a privilege, and to wear the signs of a life well lived with pride. He also believed that the lack of young men is that they think they are more happy or unhappy than they really are. This was his way of saying that youth often lacks perspective. When we're young, we tend to think that every high is the best thing ever and every low is the end of the world. But as we grow older, we gain perspective. We learn that happiness and sadness are both fleeting and that neither defines who we are. Grandpa taught me that true contentment comes from understanding that emotions are temporary and that life is about balance. Think differently. Grandpa always encouraged me to think for myself. He would say, the surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. He believed that true growth comes from challenging our beliefs, from questioning what we're told, and from valuing diverse perspectives. It's easy to surround ourselves with people who think like us, but it's the people who challenge us that help us grow the most. He also said, it is not thoughts that need to be taught, but thinking. This was his way of emphasizing the importance of critical thinking. It's not enough to memorize facts or accept what we're told at face value. Grandpa believed that we need to learn how to think, how to question, and how to form our own opinions. It's about developing a curious mind and being open to new ideas, even if they challenge what we've always believed. The nature of evil and happiness. Grandpa had a profound view on human nature. He used to say, an evil person cannot be happy, for being alone with himself, he remains alone with his own nature. This was his way of reminding me that true happiness comes from within. If someone is filled with hatred or negativity, they can never truly be happy because they are constantly at odds with themselves. Happiness is not about external circumstances, it's about inner peace and being comfortable with who you are. He also believed that the result of the voyage does not depend on the speed of the ship but on whether or not it keeps a true course. This lesson was about staying true to yourself and your values, no matter what. Life is not about how quickly you achieve your goals but about whether you stay true to who you are along the way. Grandpa taught me that integrity is more important than success, and that staying true to your course is what leads to a fulfilling life. Trust your intuition. Grandpa always emphasized the importance of trusting your intuition. He would say, always listen to your gut, somehow it knows many things that you wouldn't expect. He believed that our intuition is a powerful tool that we often ignore in favor of logic or what others tell us. But Grandpa taught me that our instincts are there for a reason, and that we should trust them, especially when making important decisions. Your intuition is like an internal compass, guiding you towards what is best for you. He also believed in ruling your life with your mind, not with your feelings. Every bad decision we have made in life, there was more emotion in it than there was my mind. This was his way of reminding me that while emotions are important, they shouldn't control our decisions. It's about finding a balance between feeling and thinking, and making choices that align with our values rather than our momentary emotions. Legacy and final thoughts. One of the final lessons Grandpa shared with me was about legacy. He used to say, the advantage of a memory is that one enjoys several times the same good things. Grandpa believed that our legacy is not just about what we leave behind, but about the memories we create with the people we love. It's about the stories, the lessons, and the moments that live on in the hearts of others. He taught me that the most important thing we can leave behind is the impact we have on the lives of those around us. Grandpa also believed that it is in the treatment of trifles that a person shows what they are. This was his way of saying that the small things matter. How we treat people, how we handle the little moments, and how we respond to everyday situations all add up to define who we are. It's not the big gestures but the small acts of kindness and integrity that truly show a person's character. Alright, friends, that brings us to the end of our Grandfather's Wisdom series. I hope these lessons have resonated with you as much as they have with me. Grandpa's teachings have been a guiding light throughout my life, and I hope they can do the same for you. If you've enjoyed this series, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content. And as always, let us know in the comments which lessons spoke to you the most. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and until next time, take care and stay wise.